The Struggling Artist Record Club is a vinyl record subscription service where I hunt and curate the best punk and punk-adjacent music out there and mail their record to your door each and every month. Imagine finding your new favorite band from across the country without ever having to leave the house. It doesn't get much better than that. The excitement of discovering new music just got that much easier. As a member of the Struggling Artist Record Club, you are going to receive some of the best music you've ever heard from bands you may never even heard of. Whether you've been collecting records for years or just starting out, the Struggling Artist Record Club is designed specifically for you. And right now, all new members get a Struggling Artist Record Club exclusive along with the monthly selection. So head to strugglingartistrecordclub.com, pick a membership, and start building that collection today. Hello and welcome to the Struggling Artist Record Club recap for June of 2025. Did it right this time.
Yeah, buddy.
With me today, Chris Chavez, 716 The Sound.
What's up? What's up?
We've got June's record. We're here to talk about. How's things, Chris? How are you?
Doing great.
That's it?
Is this gonna wait? Is the video gonna post? Because I was gonna see people will see through the lie, right?
Yes,
you can't really hear
yes.
it. If you listen to it, it sounds like everything's great. But when you
Yes,
see
the
my
video-
face, you can tell it is not.
Why? What's going on? What's up?
The world is on fire, my
Yeah,
friend.
man. Yeah, it is. It is. I was
But
trying to get you to
at
talk.
least we
a little
have
so I could
music.
take a sip.
Yeah, go for it. At least we have music, man. That's the thing, right? The world could be on fire. The shit's going down. Like, we're literally living in a reality we never thought we'd see, or maybe some folks wanted to see it. But sometimes, you know, as bad as everything is, music is just a perfect and beautiful escape. Doing stuff like this, getting to get the record every month, being able to do podcasts about music, talk about music, listen to music, radio shows, it helps. It helps.
Sure does. It sure does. And I feel like the record for today that we're going to talk about that came out in June definitely hits those marks, right? Cool. Yeah. So if you're not a member of the record club, why not? Head to Struggling Artist Record Club. Son of a strugglingartistrecordclub.com.
Pick your subscription today.
Yeah, try it out. I think I'm pretty good at this curation thing.
I think so, dude.
You know, Paul.
I mean,
Neal,
if anything, what you do 1 month, right? Do you
Yeah,
offer
there's a
1
1
month?
There's a
Get
1
1 month. See what that month is. See if you like it.
Right. You know, Paul Neal complimented me, and if that grumpy bastard compliments me, I'm going to take that to heart. That was good. That was nice of him. Yeah. And right now, if you sign up before we even get started in June's, if you sign up today, you will be signing up for our 3-year anniversary. No, 2-year anniversary of. Right, it'll be the second year. I don't know how that works. We started it 2 years ago, so you'll be whatever the anniversary.
2-year anniversary.
That's what you're signing up for. Yeah. So you know, we've been here for a minute, and we're still going.
Yeah.
This thing was going before I even took it over. So
It sure was, and that's why this month's episode is almost like Inception.
holy shit! Look at that segue.
Is it not?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
Inception, dude.
I want to say one thing. Mark never put one of his own records in the record club, even though he could have.
Even though it was deserved, right? People
Right.
needed that, but I get it.
Right.
I get it.
So I was honored to be able to use this record, and we're about to get into it.
Yeah.
So we'll start with the record it's a split, right? It's a 12-inch split, an EP on either side. That's the only way I'm ever going to send just an EP in the record club is if there's an EP on both sides. You know what I mean? So this came from Mark Lind and the Unloved and Generation Exit. The Mark Lind side is called The Oncoming Storm. There you go. Thank you for having it because I didn't have it near me. Someone's prepared. And the other side is from Generation Exit, Stay Alive. Now.
And we do ask folks to write in and tell us which is their favorite artwork, which side.
Yeah. I will say these two minds, Mark Lind and Chris Klink of Generation Exit, they were like label mates back in the
really?
2000s. Yeah, early 2000s. And they played shows together in different bands, right? Chris's band was Born to Lose at that time, and Mark had the Ducky Boys. So this is like I don't know, is this one of those full circle moments, right? Coming
That's
back
cool.
around.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. So I'm really happy that this was a thing to begin with, So let me get into the readout first. Friends, well, if you've been in the club long enough, you are familiar with the people involved, and this is involved in this one. Sorry. If you've been around, you're distracting the shit out of me.
Sorry, dude.
I was like looking at what you were doing while trying to read. Well, if you have been in the club long enough, you are familiar with the people involved in this one. Not only that, I gave away what this record was to avoid duplicates in your collection. So a lot of people who stayed with us from when Mark had the record club, they're big fans of Mark's music. So I wanted to, this was the first time I put it out there, like, hey guys, this is what we're doing this month. And what I did was anybody who had already pre-ordered the record, I extended them a month and they didn't get one for June. That was I was no way I was going to be able to come up with a bunch of alternates. And
we're going to keep doing this the whole show where just like the record just kind of swings by.
Yeah, I could do like an animation thing if you want, but
Dude, I'm all about the practical effects. I got you, bro.
All right, so the reason why I did that was due to Mark's band being involved. A majority of us came over from when he had the club, and although he never sent a record of one of his own bands, I feel we are all familiar with Mark's work prior to the club's existence under the Get Punk banner. For June, this was a no-brainer. Not only because it was Mark, but it fits the current political climate and the frustrations we all have currently. The record is a split, 2 EPs on a 12-inch disc. The only time you'll ever get an EP, man, I repeated myself when I said that earlier. The only time you'll ever get an EP as a selected monthly record. 2-on-1, 2 albums calls for 2 descriptions. So allow me to get into this one. Side Mark Lind, because there's no side A, side B. It's side Mark Lind and side Generation Exit. So side Mark Lind and the Unloved, the Oncoming Storm. After years of no new music, Mark has done it again without missing a beat. The Oncoming Storm not only has an overarching theme to it, but it holds the weight of an LP with Lind's amazing storytelling. It features voices we know from the club, like Drew and Dingaro from Diablo Gato, and some new voices to the club, unless you follow the Boston music community or the Struggling Artist podcast guest alumni with C.E. Skidmore. Track 2, World Went Mad, is probably my favorite song of 2025, and one of my favorite songs Mark has ever written. It sounds like an 80s jam, and I felt Mark went outside the box with this one. All right. Now for the Generation Exit side. Generation Exit is by far one of my favorite street rock and roll bands out there. If the vocals sound familiar to you, that's because Chris Klink, Born to Lose, Nowhere Bound, is a goddamn legend in this particular sound. OG members of the Get Punk record club will remember his band Nowhere Bound from one of the selections back then. As for I already said that part. Stay Alive. So this album's called Stay Alive with an exclamation mark. It's definitely a continuation of their debut record, Lifer, from last year. I can't pick my favorite track on this one, so it depends on the moment I am listening to, and that's true. I'd love to know what your favorite track is. And then, yeah, that was that. So we have 2 awesome albums on one record. This is like the best scenario ever.
Yeah, and you know what I like is that it's not the exact same sound back to back. You know what I mean? Like the Generation Exit, like you said, has that street punk sound, that really hard driving, and Mark's stuff has the punk, the street sound, but there is this kind of almost retro rock and roll sound to a lot of those songs on his side. You know what I mean? So it's got 2 different sounds that don't sound exactly alike. You know what I mean? And I love it. And they complement each other well.
Hell yeah. So we have a review from Dave. I didn't have a chance to print it out, so I'm going to have to read it from the email.
Alrighty.
All right, we ready for this?
All right, this is going to be interesting. Okay, I want to see how he writes this.
Yeah, we're going to find out. All right. Mark steps out onto his porch and feels the cool autumn breeze brush against his tired face, hoping it will motivate him and give him some insight for the day. Sunbeams mixed with the factory smoke and play between the buildings, shining a light on the... Man, pervasive graffiti that's stuck everywhere like super glue. The sound of distant sirens briefly catches his attention, but he subconsciously tunes it out. It's a noise Mark has grown all too used to in the city where residents work tirelessly to make it a thriving place for suburbanites while losing living in the city get screwed. I don't know what that means.
Maybe losers living in the city get screwed?
Oh, maybe. But it says losing. So. Raising his hand to his mouth to light a cigarette, he catches a sight of a tattoo on his wrist. It's strange, but no matter how often you see your own death date inked in your skin, it never becomes less unsettling. Okay. Outside the city, people seem to handle it with more dignity somehow. Their wellness guides teach them to live each day to the fullest and not dwell on the negative. So I'm assuming here we're in some futuristic world where our death dates are tattooed on us.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah. Wellness guides are souls from people that have died. Jesus Christ. I thought it was like some holistic fucking hippie. They are installed to help you navigate life more easily, but really they're just an extension of authoritarianism. The date, here we go. The date, October 14th. Could just as well be ingrained in Mark's mind instead of on his wrist, considering how often he thinks about it every day. So yes, according to what they say, Mark has about 3 years left to live.
Jeez, this is bleak.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Dave. If he had enough cash, he could probably figure out how he's going to die, but sadly, that kind of information is way too expensive for most people here. He should have extra cash because the side job he has pays really well. He distributes a drug. Of course he does. Of course. It wouldn't be a story of Dave's without drugs. He distributes a drug called Blast, which makes it so you don't need to sleep. But here's the catch. He uses it too. A lot of it. Jesus Christ.
Amazing.
Fiction, right?
Yeah.
Right. What's the old saying again? Don't get high in your own supply. Anyway, Mark handles every sleep in his wallet perpetually empty, even though he gets a huge discount on the stuff. Everyone living in the city got a raw deal because they aren't expected to live past the age of 30. After the America-China war, the Chinese cut off all goods to America. Then they wanted all their debt paid off and convinced other countries to make America pay their debts as well. This meant America had to build factories and find ways to save a ton of money. So their solution was designing a device that could tell you when you would die. If your death date was before the age of 30, then you were taken at birth. Jesus Christ! Where you never saw your parents again and forced to work in a factory around age 7. Once you die, they harvest your soul because China was responsible for providing America with 70% of its rare minerals. What does that do with souls? It's about to tell me. Rare minerals are needed for all technology, so the USA started harvesting souls to use instead. Souls were used in TVs, microwaves, cars, dishwashers, and everything else. Normally, when you die, your soul leaves your body and becomes a star. But in America, it's harvested and then put in a machine that would manipulate it so it could successfully replace the rare earth minerals that China refused to sell to America. So you can see why Mark thought getting rid of sleep via the drug Blast was like a bonus to his short life. He didn't need beds with the best pillows, alarm clocks that tell us the weather upon waking, or fancy espresso machines. All he really needed was Blast. It makes things easier for him and keeps those dreams at bay. He's so overhearing people talk about dreaming of kind, loving parents and then dealing with all the sadness and stress that follows because they don't have any of that. Mark kept telling his bandmates that it wasn't Blast, that if it wasn't Blast, most of these people would just find something else to numb the pain. You know, when people feel like they're at the end of their rope, they're going to seek some kind of comfort, especially when there's no real support available to them. It feels like they are just stuck in the mess that's set up to make them fail. Might as well just go out and enjoy it, right? All right. Hold on. I got to scroll. His bandmates believe that if they eliminate Blast, people would stop committing crimes to get their fix, and then things could turn around for everyone. Maybe they're onto something. He doesn't know, but he just can't bring himself to deal with his own feelings head on. This stance of his and theirs ignites flames within their band, especially as he is both a user and seller. But given the death sentence inscribed upon his wrist, his perspective is dismissive. To hell with their judgments, and to hell with it all. What are you doing here, buddy? What are you? Another benefit of Blast is that Mark is able to stay up all night working on writing songs for his band's new album, which is a split release with Generation Exit. Come on. Like, all right. Since he only has 3 years left to live, I can't, and I have to keep saying that. All right, this is fiction. Since he only has 3 years left to live, he's not sure if he'll be able to release another album after this one, so he wants all the songs to be perfect. There is a device called the L8, which you can go inside for a week right before your death date, and you might survive your death date. It's like a camper, basically. It moves around the city because the government doesn't want you to live. They need you to die. So the theory is when people do live past their death dates, a monster is released to wreak havoc on the city. This is supposed to make people hate the L8. Mark's vision has always been to play a record release show on top of the dead monster. So he tells his bandmates that they need to be ready at a moment's notice. They just released their album with Generation Exit. Once the monster is released and killed, it's go time. Okay? Scroll. I gotta scroll. Far. Hold on. Okay. Sorry. They hear sirens in the air, which means the monster is up and moving. Once the monster is dead, Mark Lind and the Unloved set up. Wait, why is the monster dead? I don't understand. Did I miss something?
I feel like something got missed here.
There's a device called, we got to backtrack. All right. There's a device called L8, which is like a camper, right? And you can live past your death date. It's like an incubator. Mark's vision has been to play the record release show on top of the dead monster. So if you live past your date, a monster is released to wreak havoc, but it doesn't say why it dies. All right, well, we're just going to go from there. Mark's vision. They hear sirens in the air, which means the monster is up and moving. Once the monster is dead, Mark Lind and the Unloved set up on the left side near the face, while Generation Exit sets up near the tail. Mark Lind opened with their hit, World Went Mad. The crowd went crazy. After their set was finished, Generation Exit opened with their hit, If You Love Me, Let Me Go. A week later, both singers were killed by fans who wanted their souls. They figured that was no way they could become this talented unless they possessed their souls. The mob who distributed Blast and was Mark's employer found out about this and raided the hopeful musician's house, where they found the souls in mason jars with their. Wait, why was Mark and Chris's soul in mason jars at Mark's house?
That's where you keep it best so they don't spoil, bro.
At Mark's house, though?
Yeah, so they don't spoil.
Hold on. Hold on. Mob who distributed Blast and was Mark's employer found out about this and raided the hopeful music. So the guys who killed them for the souls. Okay. House where they found the souls in the mason jars. I got you now. With their expertise in drug making, they infused these souls into their drug Blast. So Blast had now a tiny fraction of their souls, but because they're singers, I'm sorry, he's got a typo. But because their singing was so powerful and amazing, all you needed was a tiny bit of their soul. Okay? Now people were getting high and also writing amazing punk songs. With so many punk songs being written, the people in the city who would not live to 30 stormed the government and demanded an end to this barbaric behavior. Everyone was finally free to live their lives regardless of when they would die. The device that predicted your death date was destroyed as well. I still don't understand why the monster died, but that's okay. Mark Lind and Chris Klink's souls were now inside every musician's body. Metal, rap, grunge, indie, hardcore, techno, and country music all turned into punk music. Everyone was taking Blast that now had Mark and Chris's souls in it. Punk ruled the airwaves and radio waves. Real change finally happened. Now, time for my review. Jesus. I love when he puts that sentence in. All right. I never discuss album artwork first because how can you not discuss this album's artwork? It immediately catches your eye. I'm a big fan of Tim Armstrong of Rancid and have many of his posters in my house where the skull is the main vibe. And this cover reminded me of that this has got to be one of the coolest album covers I own. I also really liked Generation Exit's full-length album cover from their 2023 album, Lifer. It would be cool if they made a poster of this album cover. I would definitely buy that and hang it proudly next to my Rancid posters. Onward to the vinyl color. Mine is a blue and white splatter. It matches the album art perfectly. They really did an amazing job with the album cover and the vinyl cover. Excuse me. But then oh boy. What do you think he's going to say next?
There's the splatter, the blue and white splatter.
No, he says but. So what is his one exception to this album being so great?
No lyrics.
But then there is a letdown with no lyrics. It's odd because they do include a sheet inside the record, so why not include the lyrics there? I'll give them credit for posting them on Bandcamp, but I just hate having to look at my computer while listening to a record. Print them out. I print out every one of your emails, Dave. Print out the goddamn lyrics.
Every time I get a record club album in the mail, I open it, and the first thing I'm looking for is to see if there's lyrics because I know we're gonna hear about it.
I don't vet these bands.
Oh,
I'm like, hey, do you have lyrics?
Hilarious.
You know what I mean?
It's awesome.
Maybe I should. I don't know. With vinyl averaging $35, no, he says this every time. Lyrics need to be included. Here's the thing, Dave. If vinyl's averaging $35 without lyrics, with lyrics, it's going to be $45. Because that's more printing, like double-sided printing. It's got to be that silky,
glossy,
matte
finish.
Dave, ink ain't free, motherfucker. so take your vinyl tariff and go. Anyway, lyrics need to be included. I fear people are going to stop buying records as they increase more and more. So I'm just trying to help these bands not lose their sales. Again, they gotta spend more money. They're gonna charge you more. So this is how you keep the cost down. You just gotta go to Bandcamp and then print them out. Also, since I work from home, I like to keep the lyric sheet next to my keyboard while listening to the album. I will try and loosely follow the lyrics that way as well. Makes work a little more tolerable. Another note about lyrics. I feel like he's really digging in because, I think I was like, oh, wow, he didn't say anything about the lyrics on the last one. Another note about lyrics is that they really do help me connect with albums. We know. I am not the type of listener who listens to an album a few times and I'm done. I want to fully connect with it. I understand. And know every sound and lyric. So a lyric sheet is a must and is very important for me. As for the story that started this review, I tried to write a story that matched the lyrics. Both bands are basically writing about surviving in a world gone mad, about realizing we live in a crazy world, but refusing to give in and refusing to give up. Now for the music. Both bands write extremely catchy and digestible punk songs. I could listen to these songs all day and never get bored. I agree. And that's usually what I end up doing. Then they just sound so damn good. This reminds me of last month's selection, The Kilograms, because basically you want to listen to the album and nothing else. I know my other records are like, come on, dude, stop giving this album all the attention. We want some loving as well. That is one problem with albums I love so much. I end up listening to them and nothing else. But like I said earlier, I try really hard to connect with the albums. I feel like I definitely was able to connect with this one, even without a lyric sheet. I was really able to connect with this album as I listened to it nonstop for a few weeks. As always, thanks to Trev for procuring epic shit. Thanks, man. Thanks. Appreciate that. I appreciate that. I understand your frustration about lyric sheets, right? I understand some people get frustrated because Bandcamp codes don't go into the records anymore like they used to. Every once in a while, I think the Kilograms record came with one, but
some do.
And I understand your frustration in lyric sheets because these records are costing $35. Now, with that said, they're probably not making it into a lot of albums because of the price
Right, the cost.
to print, you know. And on top of that,
At the end of the day, a lot of these bands don't have. These bands are independent. They don't have big monster cash machines behind them the way it used to be back in the day. Like everybody pays for these things themselves out of pocket mostly.
And I know it's a bummer because I like lyric sheets too. I like reading.
I like artwork sheets. Oh, you know when they'd have all the photos and shit. I used to like those.
I like the liner notes. I like to read about like, you know, who they're thanking, and you know what I mean. Like I love all that stuff too. But like it's just it's expensive right now. And if that's something that has to, like, you got to think too. Like records are mostly pressed overseas, so now they're paying tariffs on top of this. And you know, like if you can get, so usually a lot of these companies will package everything together for you, but they're not a printing press company, right? So you're paying extra.
They outsource a lot of times.
They're outsourcing. So I mean, it all comes back to, like, if for them to keep their costs down, then they need to be able to. They're gonna have to cut things like that, right? Would you rather have them cut, you know, the quality of the music? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's a tough one. But I do understand where he's coming from because I love lyric sheets too. I do. But yeah, that's just where we're at. So, but also I know Dave loves to mention it to you know, it's like a friendly jab at me. So, you know, so I understand that part too, which is fine. But you know, thank you again for the review, Dave. Your stuff is always interesting to say the least. Blast. I wish I had some blast right now.
That's funny, dude.
I just want to know one thing, Dave. You got to clarify one thing. And I'm not going to say anything to you because I hope you're listening to these. If you're just making me fucking read these things and like talk about drugs and sex and all this awkward shit sometimes, like Mark dying, like if you're going to make me do all that, I really hope you're listening to this. But one thing I'm going to ask you through the podcast, and hopefully you get back to me, is why did the monster die? Like, that was the one thing, like, the monsters released to unleash havoc, and it was only a rumor.
It's going to be like the Lost TV show, bro. You're never going to get answers.
Right on. All right, so kind of, let's talk about this one, man. I want to start by saying, you know, kind of what Dave said, like, the aesthetic of this thing, through and through, is just perfect.
It's beautifully packaged.
Yeah.
The design is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Who did the artwork?
Chris did, I think. Chris Klink of
it's
Generation
awesome.
Exit.
It's gorgeous.
I think he did the artwork for the Generation Exit album too. So
yeah, it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, the design, like the actual design of the albums themselves, where they put the names of the songs along the side, it looks great. You know how one says Boston, Mass, the other has Austin, Texas on it. Like, it's got such a great design. It looks so good, dude. And that black and white with this color blue, it just pops. It's awesome.
You know what I really like too? It's something you don't see anymore. I like the stereo text above the album.
You know, where it says stereo.
Thing, right? That used to be a thing. It would say that on
I love it.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan.
I love that they do tell you, if you look at the pin on the skeleton's vest, it says 45 revolutions per minute, because this is 45.
Right.
This is not 33 and a half.
Yeah.
So make sure you're playing it at 45 to get the right experience.
I didn't even notice that pin until just now. That's so funny you say that.
That's what I'm saying. This thing is beautifully designed. Whoever came up with this whole like look and concept, it's awesome.
Yeah,
if it's Klink, it's
even
great.
got the little disc for the 45 on it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It is really so dope.
Cool.
But dude, these great. They sound great too. It sounds great.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So let's start with the Mark Lynn side. You know, Mark's been one of my favorite songwriters for a long time, and like these songs were great, and like I loved that he did things like this. So World Went Mad sounds so different from anything he's ever done. And I love that. I love that he, you know, like, and I'm not saying there's like anything wrong with not thinking outside the box, but I feel like he allowed these songs to take on the personality that they needed to take on. You know what I'm saying? Nothing on this side feels forced. Nothing on the whole album, either side, but nothing, especially like, nothing feels forced. I didn't even realize Peace, Love, and Understanding was a cover.
Oh yeah, Nick Lowe, yeah.
Yeah, it was a Nick Lowe cover, and it was that was the one he covered, not the Elvis Costello. He didn't cover that one.
Right. But isn't it amazing, dude? Like, I love this too, the package of songs that Mark brings us, right? It's about this craziness, this stuff that's happening, this world gone mad, but then he leaves us with a song at the end of his EP that says there's still hope. Like there's nothing wrong with, having some sort of hope. So let's get there. Let's get towards peace. So, dude, I love his pick for the cover song on this album. I think it's just perfect. I think having it at the end of his kind of little message of just what the craziness is that's happening, it's perfect. It's a perfect song.
I agree.
And World Went Mad, dude, when you said that thing about having that 80s feel, you know what it feels like to me? It feels like late 80s and into the 90s Neil Young is what it sounds like to me. Like I don't know. I listened to it over and over.
Is that when
I'm
he
like,
went all synthy?
Well, it was more. It had the more pop rock sound to it. There was in some of his song. He did some synth, but he stepped away. He did more of that kind of pop rock, but into the grunge era, right? Like Keep on Rocking in the Free World, that kind of Neil Young. That's what the World Went Mad kind of reminds me of, is that era. And as the more I listen to it, I'm like, man, this just has that sound, and it's so good, dude.
Yeah, I was really impressed with this bunch of songs.
Same.
I'm really happy. And when I had him on the podcast, actually, he mentioned this, so I can say this here, which is really funny because, in Dave's story, Mark never sleeps, and that's why he writes.
Right.
But in reality, Mark had a sleep issue, and now that he can sleep, he's been writing songs. I love it. I love that. But he mentioned that when he was on the podcast, so that's why.
That's amazing.
Let's talk about Generation Exit side.
Generation Exit, a band I had never heard before.
Oh, I love these guys.
They were great. It's like I said, dude, it's two different sounds, right? Which is great. So when you get this, then it's almost like step it up into a little bit more of a higher gear. It's really just the driving intense. There's an intensity to it, but there's still this kind of street punk rock anthem-y feel to this side of the album. You know what I mean? So good. It's so good. Vocals, excellent. Guitar work, awesome. Bass, nice. Drumming, phenomenal.
They're such a good band. I'm surprised I never sent you Lifer.
No. Yeah, but I'm going to have to listen to it.
It's good. It's really good. No, this is just a continuation, like I said, of
so good.
The tracks stay alive. Like the title track is awesome. If You Love Me, Let Me Go. Super great song. I went and got them on digital as well, so I can listen to them all the time while I'm in the car.
Nice.
I was actually listening to the Generation Exit side today on the way home. So yeah, I mean you can't go wrong with this band. You can't go wrong with this band. And again, the whole thing about them and Mark having this history together and then coming back around and putting out this split together just makes it even more, I feel like.
Yeah, it was great, dude.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess that's it.
Yeah, good times though, bro.
I guess that's where we're leaving it. So, yeah, listen, again, if you haven't picked this one up, do so. I mean, if you're into punk rock, these are, legendary artists that have been around in this independent scene for a long time, and these, and they got together to put this out together, and it's just it's pretty cool.
It's great.
So
get it.
And
subscribe to the Record Club. Listen to these stories, okay? First of all, if you are listening to any of these crazy tales about the albums and the artists that have been a part of this Record Club, and you don't have an urge to go, okay, I got to hear the music that's inspiring these off the wall narratives. I don't know, man. Do you even love music? Do you even love music if you're not signing up?
No, they only like the stuff they hear on the radio.
Do it now.
And the website
I will
is
eat your soul.
trugglingartistrecordclub.com. Go sign up today. All right, we've taken enough of your time.
All right.
We'll talk to you guys next month when we talk about July's record.
See ya.